Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod.
Well, welcome, everybody, golfers alike. Sorry to the Flagstick Podcast, presented again this week by Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top-tier accommodations, exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. Book those golf vacations and tee times at golfpei.ca. Before we get started, let's just say I hope that you are following us across all social media networks: Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and we obviously encourage you to check us out on YouTube. Like us, click the notification bell, and make sure that you never miss a single episode.
Got it.
If you can tell, I'm a little bit
under the weather.
Well, it's a little bit of everything. It's kind of like it's the end of the week now, and I started the week off by, for those that have listened for a long enough time, know that I'm a hockey skills instructor as well as a juggernaut and guru of golf. I gotta pump myself up somehow. Nobody else is gonna pump me up, so
is that on your LinkedIn?
I don't know. It's like a Marvel comic. It's like a Marvel comic book hero or something. The Juggernaut. I think it actually is an X-Men.
Probably is.
Anyway, had a little bit of a muscle tweak on Monday. So I was a little sore, and then Tuesday, somehow I got this cold started to creep in, and I had the most wicked sneeze on Tuesday night. And I'm like, no big deal, but it was a big deal. Yeah, it was a big deal. It was like 100 people were jabbing knives into my side. So whatever muscle pain I had on Monday was multiplied by about 20 on Tuesday. But it's getting better now. I can actually at least let out a little bit of a cough. I'm still scared to the gills about sneezing. I don't want to sneeze.
Just take you over to the senior home now and drop you off, or how's that working? I'm the one who had a birthday.
I know, but you don't look a day over 56. So
thanks. 56, and I'm not 56.
Are you?
I literally had someone, obviously Stefan, who we know, tweeted at me about being 65 and happy 65th. Enjoy your day at Denny's. And then I had a couple other people go, "You're not 65, are you?" Like, shut the hell up.
Yeah, see what happens? Damn social media, eh? It doesn't take much to turn something small into something big on social media, as we've witnessed many times.
Which will lead into our back nine a little bit this week.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that for sure.
Absolutely.
It's you know what? Here's the cool part. We're in February. We're in February now.
I know.
And it's
2 degrees out.
It's an El Nino year, so it's a light winter. Groundhog Day. All the groundhogs basically are predicting an early spring. I mean, golf season, here it comes. I mean, we're a month away from the Ottawa Golf Show, so up in our area.
Yeah.
The Toronto Golf Show is this weekend.
Yeah.
So things are cooking.
Yeah. No,
things are cooking.
It's good. I hope at this point, since winter's probably, winter's kind of been like not really winter.
Yeah, you're just waiting for that sneaky last blast.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be another big dumping before it's all gone, but maybe not. The way this winter's gone, who the heck knows what we're going to get? But I do know what we're going to get here on the show this week, though. I can tell you that we're going to get some great topics in the front nine. We're trying to sort of change up how we do things a little bit, but we're obviously going to get caught up on some news and notes from around the golf world. And on the back nine, we're going to talk about things in golf that should matter to us less.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this topic because I love some of the notes that you made on this, and I think it's going to be an interesting discussion in the back nine. But let's go to the front nine first, presented by Metcalf Golf Club. Natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season, obviously, as we just talked about, is closer than you think. So I really don't think you should be waiting to prepare for the upcoming golf season. Buy your memberships, join leagues, purchase the game packs, be ready to hit the first tee in the spring, saving a lot of money on your golf. Visit metcalfgolf.com to shop for those now.
And I notice
yes.
General Manager Rob Howell of Metcalf has already started his Radar Rob.
Yeah, and he was out before the Groundhogs.
Yeah, exactly. He's out starting his prediction. So if anybody wants to give him a follow on social media, you'll see his consistent predictions for when spring is. I don't know if he's ever been close or accurate, but
that's a question. You know what? That's a question for him. Rob,
yeah, Rob,
I know you listen to the podcast, Rob. So when you listen to the podcast, let us know if you've ever actually been close.
Yeah.
How close have you actually been? We'd like to tell our listeners just how much of a groundhog you really are.
We should get him on here actually and talk about it. Maybe
you know what'd be cool is if we got him on here and he dressed up like a groundhog.
That's what I said, in a groundhog suit. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe we could figure out some way of getting him to crawl out of a hole in the groundhog suit.
Okay.
And
we're probably stretching it too far.
Yeah, we might be trying to get a little too specific here. But anyway.
You got it.
All right. Let's get talking front nine. Let's get talking golf. That's what we do here. Can't talk about Canadian golf right now without talking about Aaron Cockrell.
Yeah, for sure.
Impressive start here, I guess. Well, more than just a start, but the stock is rising, I guess. You know?
Big time. And talking to a little bit to his agent this week as well, and Aaron's overplaying the DP World Tour, for people that don't know, from the Winnipeg area, just north of that, Stony Mountain, Toulon area, in his 5th year now playing the DP World Tour. So made a choice to go over there and pursue the tour over there. He's made a couple of forays into the PGA Tour with, at RBC and so forth, but he made his choice to go over there, and it's turned out quite well for him. And he's risen every single year. He got up, I think, 72nd in the money list last year, but he started the year with a great finish in Dubai. Has vaulted himself up after just a couple events now to 11th in the Race to Dubai rankings. Actually, five events into their season, which included a couple events, last year in the calendar year. But he's playing well this week again in Bahrain. I think he's T13 headed into the weekend. And, the real key for him here is that, that the finish he had in Dubai, he picked up almost $500,000 Canadian. And, one, he's locking up his card early.
Mm-hmm.
Two, he's got a good chance here to make a bunch of money because the schedule has changed a little bit with it being an Olympic year as well.
Yes.
So as a result of it, there's not as many the big events here as early, or other players that are going to be there as well. I mean, he had to, fend off McIlroy and a bunch of other guys at Dubai, but there's a good chance for him to really vault himself up there and really get himself into the picture, possibly for selection for something like the President's Cup. He's 210 in the world rankings right now, which makes him, I think, the 7th among the Canadians. And, he's really pushing his way up there, and who knows, he could also lock himself up a position in the Open Championship as well, with his current play in the DP World Tour. So just some advice for people that maybe are not familiar with Aaron. Give him a follow.
For sure.
Check him out and make sure you pay attention to what's happening over there. Not all the great golf in Canada is always happening with Canadians is happening in North America.
Well, that's the thing. And people have to understand too that like making a living playing golf does not necessarily mean that you have to be on the PGA Tour or on the Corn Ferry Tour to do that. Frankly, there's money to be made on some of the smaller tours, and the DP World Tour is not. No, shouldn't be considered one of the smallest tour.
No, it's pretty much the second in the PGA Tour type family. Obviously, Live exists now or whatever, but
sure,
DP World Tour is a partner with the PGA Tour.
Well, that's it. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go about this. I mean, it's the same with most sports, but in golf, I mean, only so many people can play on the PGA Tour. So you either make a choice. You either play on the PGA Tour, you play on the Corn Ferry Tour,
Yeah.
You play on the DP World Tour, you play on the European Challenge Tour, like you play on the Asian Tour, the Japan Tour, like there's tours out there and there's money to be made, and to make a living as a professional golfer.
Yeah.
And that can be sort of your roundabout way of maybe getting to the PGA Tour, or at least
If that's
getting
what you
into
want to
some.
be.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't want to. I know some guys, I mean, coming from the hockey world as well, that there's only so many places, there's only so many teams and places that you can play professional hockey in North America.
Right.
Whether you're playing the NHL or in the AHL, and even in the AHL, you're not making a boatload of money if you're on a one or two-way contract, or if you're on an AHL contract. So they go over to Europe, and if you listen to some of the stories that some guys, single guys, it's kind of like you don't have to be single to do it, but single guys going over there, younger,
expenses paid,
playing a little bit, everything's paid for. Their apartments are paid for, their expenses are, they can eat wherever they want. The games are close. You're not flying, all over the place to play in these leagues, and you're making a decent, probably $100,000 a year. In a lot of cases, $100,000 a year when all your expenses are paid for is not really chump change here. Like, let's be honest. I mean, a lot of us that, in our careers would love to make $100,000 a year. They're playing hockey, and that's all they're doing. I mean, and it's the same thing in golf. Although in golf, you got to win to earn. It's not quite the same.
It's a meritocracy.
You can win a lot more than $100,000 if you do well. But
yeah, I think we're going to see what we did see more Canadians this year go over and play the Q school over there. There's less players to deal with. The Q school is getting harder and harder at the PGA Tour levels. So you're seeing guys, go over and give it a shot. If they're going to advance in their career, I mean, their choice is to sit here in North America and wallow around in the mini tours for 5, 6, 7 years and then decide, that's it for me. So if they want access, and, like Aaron did, he started really the Challenge Tour more than anything and worked that into DP World Tour. This is another opportunity. And like I said, we've already seen more Canadians go over there and do that. We'll probably see more continue to do that as well. And hey, we've already seen, even in the Asian Tour, Key School, Jared Dutois earned a card there this year. We saw a few that were playing in there. We do have a number of other Canadians that are playing over on the Asian Tour, on the Korean Tour, or so forth. So it is a worldwide game, and pro golf definitely, as you said, is more than just in North America.
Do you miss the old school PGA Tour Q school?
Well, it's sort of back right now because they have 5 spots now. They have a P, but it's not the 20 spots that it was, but it's basically back now as it is. So it's actually better. So I missed it when it was gone for the 11, 12 years, but now at least there are 5 cards available. It's good and it's bad. I mean, the old school was good in the fact that dreamers could get through.
And I like that.
It is, but
I like the 5. I do like the 5 because then your dreamers can still get through. But
yeah. But it's more likely that someone's going to have to be a very, very good player to get through, and not
or a good dreamer.
Yeah, well, not fluke their way through. It's less likely for sure. And then that school now is used to do all the rankings, basically for Corn Ferry and PGA Tour Americas as well. But there are ways to get on there. And I should say, obviously we know people that got through over the years. And a quick shout out here, Matt McQuillan. Unfortunately, his mom just passed away. Matt, who I was actually with at Q School, and he got through. And one of the coolest pictures of my whole golf career was taking a picture of he and his mom. I was traveling with his mom and his sister that week, and his mom hugging him, and it was off splashed on the front paper of Sun newspapers as well. And
nice.
So just thinking of the McQuillans at this time.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about the PGA Tour, Scott. Let's talk about, because there's been a lot of discussion, with Live Golf and with the PGA Tour and the PIF and Rory's about face on everything. But the PGA Tour has found some additional U.S. investment.
So this was obviously kind of, hinted at that the things were happening, and then it was finalized this week on Wednesday. PGA Tour announced that the Strategic Sports Group had partnered with the new PGA Tour Enterprises, which we should say, and people should understand, PGA Tour Enterprises is separate from the PGA Tour. It's a new for-profit entity. So there's a lot of structure that'll happen. It will probably incorporate a lot of what you see right now on the PGA Tour, but this is different than the PGA Tour as it was when it was a nonprofit. So there's a potential here. This is a collective of several investors and multiple firms that are already involved in sports, including led by the Fenway Sports Group. They're involved with lots of different sports. So get some really smart people that are involved here, and they pledged up to $3 billion of investment, at least $1.5 billion to start. And the structure is basically looks like the players or the top players will get equity in the future, depending on how they play, how long they've been playing, and so forth. So what it does is it sort of one, it gives PGA Tour Enterprises some options that maybe they don't need the PIF investment as much, although they have said that the SSG group has knows that there still might be they're expecting some PIF involvement here at a future time. And the framework is still being worked on for any type of relationship with PIF, but it also means that maybe the PGA Tour and this new enterprises is not going to be dependent on PIF, which you have to understand. If PIF came in, there's a lot of regulatory things that might keep PIF out, even if they tried to get them in there because of this foreign investment, whereas this is domestic. So there's a lot to be said of this. There's still a lot to come from it. Even the players themselves, even though the board has obviously agreed to it, we don't know what the structure is going to look like. We don't know if the new PGA Tour Enterprises will basically just, like I said, eat up what is the PGA Tour, change the whole structure of it, because people have to realize right now, PGA Tour events, for the most part, are run by independent operators. And the tour assists and is partners with them, but things like purses and all those different things, those come out of the pockets of the sponsors and are administered normally by the people that are running those events. So this is just going to change the whole structure. And one last note before I'll take a breath and let you comment is the fact that because you've got a private equity group, it is in their best interest to make sure this thing succeeds, because they're not in it to lose money. So they want it to be better for the tour, but better for the fans as well. So lots to come from this.
Something smells.
How so?
Something this doesn't seem right. Something seems off. How you go from this heated battle with Live Golf, and attacking the whole Live Golf organization and where the money came from, and the money, well, I guess you call it laundering, but I guess the sports washing.
Yep.
And then over the period of time, Live continues to gain a lot more traction, and more of the top players in the world at that time start jumping ship and going to the money.
Sure.
And why wouldn't you? I get that. Your career is only so long, and if you really don't care about certain aspects of professional golf, other than why do you play it? You play it to win money,
Sure.
and to make a living. So I don't have a problem faulting the players that jump for that. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, the PGA Tour is potentially looking at getting investment dollars. Sorry, the PGA Tour Enterprises, the U.S. equivalent of finding a way to put the money into a for-profit rather than non-for-profit to make it look better, getting the money from the same place as Live Golf was getting their money from. Well, PIF, it's still money from over.
Well, the SSG is domestic.
PIF, no, not SSG. I'm talking about the PIF.
Well, there's still not. There's no guarantee. There's nothing done with PIF.
No, I know there's nothing done yet, but there's discussion about them getting money from the same organization that's providing money to Live. Is that not where that money's coming from?
Which one? The
PIF investment.
Yeah, but the PIF right now.
I know right now they're not getting that money, but they have still been in discussions with that organization about investing in PGA Tour Enterprises.
Yeah,
so there's still the same money that built Live. They're still looking at the possibility of using the same money that built the tour that they peed all over for so long at pumping up their own business enterprises in North America.
Yeah, but that's not their focus right now, though.
I know it's not their focus right now, but there's still a discussion about it. Now you got Rory, who's basically completely doing an about face. And I get it. But it smells a little bit of Rory not wanting to upset too many people in the PGA Tour world or the PGA world for fear that money won't come if they want that money to help pump up the enterprise, which he stands to be one of the ones that gets a majority equity in that new business because he is one of the top players. It's self-serving is what I'm saying.
That could be part of it. And of course, it's going to be self-serving. I mean, these guys all want to make money. But I think what his comments were, a lot of his comments were related not to the money side of it. They were related more to the reunification of the players and having the players come back so that all the best players are playing together in some form or format. So, there's
except that didn't seem to be a problem about 18 months ago.
Well, because none of
he was good riddance. He was good riddance to all those players if they didn't want to be with playing
but things
the tour. Now it's all good.
Well, no, I don't think he said it's all good. I think some circumstances have changed. But
yes, there's a big chunk of money coming. That's the circumstance that's changed.
Okay, well, let's put the money aside. And if we're looking at the focus of having the best players in the world playing in some events somewhat together, that could be the future. So the thing is, it may be a framework where PIF is not putting any money in there. And there's an agreement with the PGA Tour that they're going to have some cooperative events that will happen that will include some of their players. Again, we don't know where this is going to go.
Or they're probably just turning about face and give them world ranking points and everything will be hunky-dory, which is what Greg Norman and the whole Live Tour thing wanted in the first place. Well, but they had to go through all of this crap just to get to ultimately what they're going to end up with in the end anyway.
Well, again, it's pretty damn complicated. That's what it comes down to, and none of us are privy to what goes on the inside. So, what we're thinking about and talking about is obviously maybe a different perspective than what they have. So, but that said, they found U.S. investment, right?
And that's a good thing
for a that's not obviously going to be subject to regulation. This is going to be helpful as far as the players to retain players. It could be helpful in a PGA Tour enterprises to basically create a better product for the fans. Because again, this is not just about, this is about profit, but in order to be profitable, you have to be successful. So whereas previously people were a little bit concerned about maybe what the tour was doing and maybe not, thinking about the fans as much as, the players. So,
isn't there a fear maybe that if they start doing something where they have combined events where the top players from the PGA Tour and the top players from the DP and the top players from Live Golf are competing in these elite level events, that they're basically just creating a Live Golf version on the PGA Tour? And that the bottom guys, the TV ratings and the sponsorship and the money is going to go into these elite events, and the John Deere Classics of the world are going to end up, with the lesser fields.
Oh, certainly.
And then aren't they just?
I mean, that's exactly what's happening right now. So, but whether that, and I'm not saying that's good, believe me, you've got to imagine that a lot of events that are running that are not signature events right now have some major concerns about who they're going to end up in the field because they don't have all the top players. So in the end, I don't know if there's a perfect answer. That's the problem. They just have to look at what the current situation is, the current risks are, because as we know, if the PGA Tour doesn't do anything to respond, they're certainly at risk. So yes, they are trying to protect themselves in many, many ways.
Well, I am going to continue to play devil's advocate on this particular topic, but for the sake of the show this week, we'll move on because
there'll be lots more about it.
There'll be lots more discussion, and as I said, I'm going to continue to take up a little bit of a devil's advocacy role on the whole thing, just if for no other reason. It makes for good discussion.
Look, hey, I'm not saying it's perfect, that's for sure, but let's
rich get richer. That's the way I look at it, and that's to me that's what they're doing is they're creating a way. They're creating a way for there to be massive amounts of money injected into a PGA Tour type business model that potentially eliminates the need for their top ranked players to leave and go to an organization that has basically an endless bucket of money to throw at people that will never go away because of where that money comes from. So I respect the PGA Tour for trying to protect their business interests. I don't respect the fact that now we're just going to get into a North American version of Live, except without buckets of money. They still have to go get their sponsorship, unless, of course, they get their $3 billion investment plus they get PIF months, in which case then they have buckets of money for the PGA Tour to do whatever they want as well. So, anyway,
all right,
we move on. Okay, so some cool news.
Yeah,
some cool news came down the social media wire, if you will, from the
local level.
Yeah, from the local or the Ottawa region level. Falcon Ridge Golf Course is set to become the first Ottawa public facility. To
and they might be the first. They might be the first public facility in Canada, actually.
And technically, they're the first Ottawa facility. Technically.
Yes, because we know the Royal Ottawa Golf Club was the first in Canada to put in a TrackMan range, and they are in Gatineau.
Correct. Yeah, so now Falcon Ridge is set to also upgrade their driving range facility with a TrackMan range facility, which is really kind of cool. And that's great because that goes along with, we've seen Archie's is talking about possibly Top Tracer. Kevin Haim has had Top Tracer. He was the first. He was the first to institute this type of range facility with the Top Tracer range. First to do it, so that's awesome. Falcon Ridge doing it. I can only imagine that once Falcon Ridge launches it, that there are other golf courses, their driving ranges that may look at instituting this as well, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, it's super expensive. It's not a cheap venture, that's for sure. So that will limit some facilities from going out and doing it. But it's definitely a way that, a lot of these range facilities at golf courses as it is, because they're at high capacities, they need to drive revenue in different other areas that they have. They need other assets and other amenities to attract themselves, to separate themselves from competitors. So this is a way, and if people are not familiar with TrackMan range, basically it's like a launch monitor for the driving range. That's the easiest way to put it. TrackMan radar just covers the range, and then at all the different stalls, you can basically use your smartphone, connect up to it, get all your data as far as which your golf ball is flying from that particular stall. Again, more entertainment. You can play games, all sorts of different things. But yeah, I think you're going to see more and more of this. We already are in Canada, and it's cool that a place at Falcon Ridge, which is a 27-hole public facility in the south end of Ottawa, it's a big boost for them, and that should be in place in summertime. So supposed to have some further discussions with them, and then do an interview and probably a deeper story once we have some more details.
Beautiful. Okay. Tour news. A bit. We got about 8 minutes before we have to take a break here, but Pebble Beach is a signature event this week. Strong field. A little different format than in the past, where the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, the amateurs are only playing 2 rounds, and the pros are doing the full 4. Some dodgy weather going on there too, but it's always the case there, Pebble Beach. You don't know what you're going to get. You either get a nice sunny, calm weekend, or you get what they're getting, and it ain't fun.
No,
it ain't some fun golf, I'll tell you that.
Makes for good entertainment, and like you said, having all the top players there makes a difference this week. And as a result of it, I'll probably watch a little bit more of it than the Farmers. I don't know if I watched much of the Farmers.
I'll watch it because it's Pebble Beach. I mean, I'm not.
That too.
More so because of it's Pebble Beach and it's crappy weather.
Yeah, I caught a bit of it last night, and I want to see those top players have to deal with that weather, as opposed to the dome weather that they had to at the Amex, where they're basically
dome weather
shooting darts and there's no weather at all. So
I don't like that. Some really cool news for the on the women's golf side of things. It's an LPGA thing, but not really an LPGA thing. It's a women's golf thing. USGA is pushing the US Women's Open purse to $12 million.
Mm-hmm.
$12 million.
Yeah, it had gone to 11 last year, and obviously it's gone up immensely in the last 10-15 years. And I'm not sure what the first prize is going to be. Last year was 2 million for the first prize. And this is obviously trying to push themselves into a situation where they have a lot more equity on the men's and the women's side, especially for the USGA. They've got a new sponsor in Ally Bank, and that's actually going to be played in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, later this year. Which if people remember when it was held at Lancaster last time, there's a lot of Canadians that went down to follow Brooke, especially from this area.
Yeah.
Not that far away, and the fact that they're playing for this massive purse just makes it all that more exciting.
I think it's, and I don't want to get into too much of a discussion about this because I know it's kind of a touchy topic with a lot of people, and I don't want to be a side taker or anything like that. But what I like about this, and what I like about from the standpoint of women's golf, is that they're growing these purses, and these purses are growing based on exactly what they should be based on. It's based on visibility of the tour, the players. There's more interest in it now. The sponsors are coming on board, and because of that, the purses are rising. The amount of money that they're playing for and the potential for them to earn is based on the product that they're putting out there for people to watch. I love watching women's golf.
Mm-hmm.
Golf is golf to me. And yes, as a whole, the women's golf side, they may not hit it 340 yards, but once
Mm-hmm.
they're in the fairway, golf is golf, right? I mean, to me, I mean, yeah, they're hitting it, they're spinning it, they're making these shots, so they're earning as a
Mm-hmm.
professional organization is based on the product that they're delivering to people. They're not
Yep.
delivering a lackluster product and getting money for delivering garbage. They're
Mm-hmm.
delivering, awesome golf.
Yep.
And the sponsors are coming on board and saying, we recognize that we want to kick more money into this product to continue to build it and grow it. And that's what I like to see. I like to see that kind of stuff happening. And the PGA Tour the same way. Like that's what your product should be basis. What are you delivering for a product? And the
Mm-hmm.
sponsors recognizing it and bringing more money into it. So this is awesome news, and I hope it continues to go this
Yeah.
way for the women's golf side of things. That more sponsors recognize the
Yeah.
product that's being delivered.
Yeah, I think
Um,
the two quick things on that one is the fact that they were very much an international tour right from the start. They've got players that come from all over the world,
mhm.
which is really good. And I think the one thing that the LPGA has done a really great job of doing is really creating this cast of characters of an emphasis on not just the superstars,
Yeah,
and developing the personalities and the profiles of
100%.
all their players rather than just leaning into a couple, which I think is unfortunately what happens when we see the PGA Tour in a lot of cases. They
Yeah,
just focus on a few too many players. Not everybody's going to be a Tiger Woods, so you need to lean on your whole cast of characters and develop them all.
totally agree. Okay, one last thing before we take a break, and let's get at this quickly because we don't want to get
Sure.
cut off in the middle of it. But um, a local pro that we're very familiar with has made a big gear change.
Two-time Flagstick Open champion Noah Steele has made a move over to TaylorMade Golf. He's been doing some testing in the last couple of months. A very difficult decision for him. You can find out more on this over at flagstick.com. We've got some details. I did an interview with him to talk about the change, and obviously he's now on the same staff as Brooke Henderson. Two Eastern Ontario players that played together in the old BCC Open. If we
Nice,
remember
yeah, they
that back
did.
in the day when they're 10 years ago, same age and so forth. And so a big move for him. He's obviously been with Titleist for most of his career, but made some changes for particular reasons, and it's a 3-year deal, and all the details are up on flagstick.com.
Awesome, good for him. Good for TaylorMade.
Yep, for
But
sure, good
and these
addition.
things happen. This is the
They do.
business of golf. It happens
It
all the
is.
time. Speaking of the Flagstick Open, just before we take a break, almost all of the 120 spots are filled.
Yeah.
I mean, we're literally within 2 or 3 spots of it being completely filled. So get over and get signed up at flagstick.com or flagstickopen.com, whichever you like, and at least get yourself on the waiting list if it happens to be filled by the time you get there. Because chances are, if you're on the waiting list, there's still a very, very good chance of you getting into the event. And if you can't, Well, then we have the Flagstick shootout coming in July to Smuggler's Glen. So you'll be able to sign up for that one, which is the limited field event. So
Yes.
we'll be opening registration for that very shortly as well. All right. We got to get out of here. We got to take a break, pay some bills, all that wonderful stuff. When we come back, Scott and I are going to talk about the things that you should talk about less, if that makes any sense. Stay with us. You're listening to the Flagstick Podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod.
When you golf on Prince Edward Island, there are over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine. Not to mention countless miles of pristine beaches and a rich world-class culinary experience. So get here fast, then take it slow and play around on Island Time. Golf Prince Edward Island.
All right, welcome back to the Flagstick Podcast with myself, Jeff Botter, and this guy, Scott McLeod. Breaking news, apparently it's a crappy start to the Live Golf event in Mexico this week.
Little food poisoning action going on down there. Apparently.
Yeah. Not fun. Not fun.
It's not fun if it's you, but certainly it creates some comedy on the other side of it. So if people are opening up Twitter, they're going to see a lot of
I'm pretty sure that's going to be a topic that's probably going to be running wild.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, nice. Gives a new meaning to shotgun start.
Oh my god. I gotta think that from a public relations standpoint, that's probably gonna blow up all over the place.
Shall we continue?
Yeah, let's go. All right, let's get into the back nine this week, presented by Celtic Golf Center. Located only 20 minutes from Ottawa in Kempville, Celtic Golf Center is indoor golf on another level, featuring 5 state-of-the-art TrackMan simulators and 2 new Unicore sims with GS Pro. Celtic Golf Center can offer over 10,000 golf course options, including many major courses with some island greens and beautiful azaleas. Play rounds with friends, practice with full swing analysis, or play some games. Visit CelticGolfCenter.com to learn more or to book tee times.
You got it.
All right. There we go. All right. Back nine. Let's talk about the back nine. Let's talk about, as we sort of alluded to off the top of the show and going into the break, we want to talk about things that you should probably think about less.
Yeah.
So it's not what you should think about on the golf course or before you golf or with related to golf. It's what you should think about less. And,
I find these days, I mean, because everybody's in, let's just say, on social media, discussing stuff all the time, getting concerned about some things that, people end up wasting times on, and talking about stuff that they probably wouldn't even thought about before or really cared about. Like, even look at the discussion. I get it. From a golf media standpoint, what's happening with the PGA Tour, PIF, and LIV is certainly important. But do you think that anybody these days would have cared about the business of what's happening in the boardrooms and whatever about golf if it wasn't for maybe from a social media standpoint? Probably not.
Probably not. I mean, and again, the question you really have to ask yourself too is that as much as we shouldn't be worrying ourselves with that because it really has zero effect on us whatsoever.
Right.
How many people really are thinking about it? That's the bigger question. Like, social media makes everything seem bigger than sometimes it really 100%. Is.
It really does.
And we have our set number of followers. We have, and we follow a lot of big people and stuff. But it's interesting, and I know this isn't a golf related thing, but it is a social media related thing, is that I was watching an interview with somebody that, as it related to the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing in the NFL. And they said, and this is a very well-known athlete, female athlete, in this interview, they said that this whole Travis Kelce, in their opinion, this whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing is 100% fake, fabricated, not real. And I'm like, okay, why is this? I said, because they personally, as a female athlete, their publicist was approached by an NFL player's publicist about a year ago. about getting them together for a date. And she didn't have a boyfriend at the time, and her career was kind of going a little bit, she had some things going on and it could really use a boost. So her publicist and this other publicist for this football player, who's really wasn't very high profile but was high profile enough, they get together on a date. And she said that every single detail of that date between the two publicists, including where the paparazzi was going to be, what they were supposed to wear, when they were supposed to hold hands, everything was completely scripted and mapped out. Everything to the very last detail.
I'm not going to say, some different things like that don't happen in the PR world, but I'll say this. I'd say social media lends itself to far too many conspiracy theories and too many things that are not vetted properly with real sources, where anybody can just go out and say anything without verification.
And I agree with that. That's why I'm bringing this one particular topic up, because this is a valid source, and it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense at the same time. So,
but it also can't be a single source. But anyways, whatever the case may be,
neither here nor there. Got nothing to do with golf.
No, but when we start to talk about golf, there's definitely some people that start to get really concerned about a particular things. But if they sat back and realized it doesn't really change anything that they do. And why this sort of topic came to mind was, I was hearing people have all these massive discussions about, and we've talked about it a bit on this podcast. They're having all these discussions about what was happening in male professional golf, which again is way far away, short of maybe them attending an event once a year.
Yeah.
And, what I said to some of them is like, does it change how you play golf? Does it change the rules that you have within your group? Does it change, how much you're going to play golf? Does it in essence, it has no effect on it, which leads me to, what are the other things that we talk about all the time that you have a perfectly good right to do if you think it interests you and whatever? We're not saying that, you shouldn't have any discussion about this, but what we're saying is that just think and stop and think sometimes, what are some different things that are happening in golf that are really, if you thought about them less, I mean, they're not really necessary to think about them for you to enjoy the game.
So what is one of the number one things that a good chunk of, and I'm going to say male golfers, because I really have never heard a female golfer ask this question. What is one of the biggest things that they focus their attention on that they should never be focusing their attention on?
How long is the golf course?
How long is the golf course? How long is the golf course? How many male golfers out there concern themselves with how long a golf course is? What's the tips?
That's
and have no business even being anywhere near the tips in the first place.
And it becomes this judgment factor. So, we've got it for years, decades, where people, you mention a golf course and they're like, oh, how long is that course? Well, what's that got to do with it? If it's a great golf course. I think people are becoming a little bit more educated about that. We're seeing, shorter designs that people begin to appreciate more, whether it's the Goat Hills or the Winter Parks of the world, down in the States. But number one, the fact that, as you said, what are the percentage of people that actually play off the back decks? And I remember, here's a great example. When we were down in Mobile, Alabama, playing the one golf course, which they had retrofitted as part of the Robert Trent Jones Trail, but they had taken a golf course that had previously been about, probably like 6,300 yards, and they put in these back tees so that they could have this yardage on the card that was, 7,000 whatever. But all the cart paths were like 100 yards away from those back tees, and there wasn't a blemish on those back tees. But it was there mostly from a marketing purpose more than anything, to say we're this length of a golf course, because there's some people that wouldn't go there if it was 6,400.
Many golf courses that that you and I have played over the years, and you've played more than I, but the ones that we've played together, we've played a lot of golf courses in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
And many of those golf courses there's two things. One, a lot of them are nicer golf courses from the middle or forward sets of tees than from the back, because they were never really designed from the back tees. They were designed further up, and then the back tees were added, which completely makes them either unplayable, stupid playable, or too easy from the back tees. You know what I mean? Like if you're playing from the back tees and the course was designed with all the trouble from the middle tees, then from the back tees you can't reach any of the trouble. So it's like you just bomb drives out there, and you're never hit any of the bunkers or water or anything like that. But then if you play them up at the, oh my gosh, now I got to choose 3-wood, iron off the tee, driver to hit it over. So that's one.
Yeah.
Number two, when we go on our road trips and play golf at places, there's very, very seldom do we ever go to the back tees. And we normally will do it once on one golf course during one of our long trips. And it's usually a golf course that is, maybe has hosted a major championship, whatever the case may be. And we want to see it.
Right. From
as golf guys, we want to see it from there. Not that we're challenging ourselves to see if we can shoot under par from back there, because only one of the two of us has a shot at that, and I don't want you to be embarrassed. So, so that's the ways. I mean, we play a lot of golf. We've played a lot of courses. You hit the ball a long way. We don't play from the back tees every time we play golf. And frankly, it's no fun.
We play where we're going to have fun, right?
Yeah.
And that those back tees, I mean, and they usually go hand in hand with the course rating, because again, people look at that and they go, "Ooh, wow, the course rating." And I think that became a big thing in the 1990s. Facilities would market themselves by how tough they were, right? And then, let's try for the highest rating possible and the most difficult. Well, you know what? While cool and I guess masculine in a certain way or whatever.
Did it fit your market?
It didn't, in the end, it doesn't, it costs to maintain those tees, right? Costs to change all sorts of different things. Is it your demographic? I know my own golf course that I play at on a regular basis where I'm a member, probably 65% of our rounds are probably played off the green tees, which are probably 5,800 yards. It's where the demographic is, because basically what happened was people realized that, we can hit greens in regulation. We can actually enjoy ourselves. We can have more fun. But I tell you what, it was hard to get them there.
Yeah.
Because ego says, oh no, I got to play off the blues or the whites. And I always find it interesting, because I don't care what tees I play off of. And I always, will end up with random golfers and I'll say, what tees do you want to play off of? And they'll go, oh, I don't, where do you play? Don't worry about where I play. Play where you play where you want to play. And if I want to be social, I'll come up and play with you, whether it's red, yellow, green, whatever. If we're just having a casual game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So people worrying about whether the course rating is high enough, that in some way that a golf course is not going to be, worth playing, or they're not going to get their money's worth if they're not playing off the back tee and playing the full yardage.
Two golf courses that are really close to me: Falcon Ridge Golf Course, which is very close to me; Metcalf Golf Club, which is right across the street from me. Both of which I play, Metcalf a little more regularly because of where it is. But as much as I like both those golf courses, 18-hole course, they have 27 holes. As much as I like both the 18-hole courses, a lot of times
like the nines.
I will play the 9-hole race view, I guess is what they call it. It's called the Falcon Ridge. I think it's still called that. But I'll play the 9-hole race view course, or I'll play Metcalf's 9-hole course before, like, every day. I love those two 9s, and they're not crazy long by any stretch. The other 18s are longer. Falcon Ridge especially is much longer. But length doesn't matter. I mean, they're great golf courses, but I play the 9-hole courses all day long.
And I think that lends itself to something that I didn't put in the notes, but you've just said, is playing 9 holes versus 18.
Yeah, no, I'm a 9-hole guy.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing 9 holes, but I was kind of shocked when when I moved to Ontario, and the number of people are like, well, if you don't play 18, it's not a round of golf. I'm like, excuse me? That's not really the point.
Mm-hmm.
It could be going out and playing 3 holes or 5 holes or 12 holes or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Don't feel that you should be constrained about whether it's 9 or 18. So as you said, a lot of the times just going and playing, that shorter golf course, it's going to be more fun. I mean, in the end, are you going there to punish yourself?
Exactly.
Really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How far you hit it is another one. That is
Big
like
time.
care about it less. It really makes no difference. I know everybody wants to hit it longer.
Oh yeah,
I
for
get
sure.
that. There's physical characteristics of your
Mhm.
person that inhibit you from hitting it longer. I'd love to hit the ball longer. I mean, I'd love to be able to hit it, in the threes,
Mhm.
280, even be able to hit it 275 on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But I'm a 230 to 250 guy off the tee now, and
Mhm.
I've accepted that this is my body, this is my
Mhm.
age, this is my physical
Yeah, you're not going into
stature.
doing
I
a
mean,
ton of speed
what
training,
am I going
right?
to do? Hit the
Yeah.
gym and train myself so that I get physically capable of hitting it farther and then I gain 10 yards? Like, I
Mm.
mean, that's not why I would hit the gym and get physically
Yeah.
stronger anyway, but it's so stuck in your brain. Just
Mhm.
play the tees that make the most sense for you.
Mhm.
And then the length that you hit it really doesn't matter because you're
Yep.
going to hit shorter irons in, or you're going to, I mean,
Yeah. We
I
have to
want to play.
realize
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to realize that at the pro golf level, everybody's game is made up of a variety of components. So, while it's sexy to, see players bomb the drives out there, whether
Hmm.
it's on the women's side or the men's side, um, in the end, they've got to chip and putt and put it in the hole. So, you know, obviously you're a really good iron player. I wish I hit my irons as good as you. So just because I hit it longer doesn't mean, it obviously equates to something different in how we play,
Hmm.
but you don't worry about how far someone else hits it. Now, that always used to be easy for me to say because I would usually end up being a longer person in the group, but now some of these kids are just blasting it all over
Oh,
the place.
it's insane.
But what I do notice is that for me, I was always longer off the tee, but irons, I was never super long with the irons, just the way I deliver the golf club. But I'm always shocked how many people always ask or worry about what iron you're hitting into a green. And not for the case of trying to, judge how far, they're going to hit their shot.
Hmm.
It's more for a case of, oh, wow, you hit this or you hit that, or somebody have an expectation that, they're supposed to hit a pitching wedge this far. Well, temperatures change, wind conditions change,
Yeah.
grass changes, lots of different things changes. So, hit the club that gets you there, whether it's a hybrid or a pitching wedge, it doesn't really matter. And how far someone else hits it shouldn't be on your mind. Take care of what you need to do with yourself and worrying less about how far someone else hits it.
So, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the latest and greatest because we just spent the last 2 episodes of the podcast talking about the PGA merchandise
Equipment.
show
Yeah.
and the latest stuff on the market and this new this and this new that. How important is it that somebody should be thinking about or considering making sure that they have the latest and greatest piece of golf equipment in their bag?
Well, as I've always said, and I've probably said it 50 times on this show, they're not buying equipment, they're buying hope.
Yeah,
And while there are definitely incremental changes and improvements in clubs
for
all the
sure.
time, those incremental changes are fairly small. And you can just as effectively go out, and lots of people do it every single day, go out and play very good golf with equipment that's older. In fact, I will tell you, I'm probably one of the slowest people to change equipment a lot of times. Sometimes yeah, you too. Sometimes, even though I get to test lots of different equipment, I might be a generation or two behind just
Hmm.
because I find a piece of equipment that I'm comfortable with. I like how it performs. While it may not be give me, as distinctive advantage as something else, and it's something I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
So, especially when we talk about things like putters and drivers, things that are really key, 3 woods for an example. So yeah, for the people that, they're usually shocked. They look in your bag and they're, oh, what have you got? What have you got? And, oh, you've got something that's 2 years old. Oh my.
My gosh, yeah, you must be something wrong with you. Did
Yeah,
you know?
guess what? Do you drive a 2-year-old car or a 4-year-old car or a 6-year-old car?
No, that's it's a good point, and that's a good analogy. That's a good point to use
Yeah.
there too. I mean, you know, I'm the same way. I hold on to my stuff because I'm comfortable with it. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm reluctant to change because I don't think the change is going to make a big difference in my game. The most recent change that I made in my golf equipment, um, you know, starting to play the Strixon product. Doesn't mean that the stuff I'm playing is better than something else I could be playing right now. That's not really the point. It's better than what I was playing before. It feels better. The performance for me feels better than what I was playing before. Not that it's better than 10 other products that are on the market right now, but it's better than what I was using before. And I like it a lot. I like how it looks. I like how it feels. I like how I swing it. And so that's something that'll probably be in my bag for a while. Like that's just the nature of what I do. I changed my putter. I hadn't changed my putter in like 10 years. I changed my putter, and do I putt better? Maybe a smidgen. But I like the feel of the putter and I like the look of the putter. So
I think I'm year 7 coming up in the putter I have. I think there's 2 things that are in this. One, you know, as a golf pro, I get people ask me all the time, what do you play? Well, okay, that's fine.
What do you care?
Yeah, that's usually my point. Like, why are you interested? If you're interested from the sake of just general conversation, that's perfectly fine. But I can tell you that, you know, all the students that I have, lots of good players, play a myriad of brands, whatever that's best to them. The other side that I don't like about this sometimes is, especially when I go to junior events and I see equipment shaming happen, and I see kids that are almost bullying other kids because they don't have the latest driver. Well, guess what? Not every kid can, you know, afford $1,000 for a new driver.
No.
And often is the case. It might be the player who has actually got the older equipment in the bag that actually posts the lowest score. But unfortunately, it's like a lot of things, you know, with kids, whether it's clothing or you know, the latest iPhone or whatever the case may be. We see some equipment shaming happening on the junior tours, and it's not a good scene. It's not a healthy scene. And I think people have to educate the kids to make sure they understand that just because you have the newest and the greatest, it doesn't make you better than someone else. And it doesn't make you a better golfer than someone else. And yeah, they should take that into account. So that's another point I see as far as the equipment.
Now here's an interesting one.
It's a long list, eh? And
it is a long list, and I'm kind of skipping over some of them because they're a little bit similar to other things that we've talked about. But I want to mention this one: dress codes. Now, I'm a traditionalist at heart when it comes to golf. Okay, so for the most part, and this one, dress codes, I'm going to actually tie this one into another point that you made regarding rules. Because they kind of, for me, they kind of fit hand in hand. Are dress codes necessary? And my feeling, my personal feeling is yes. I think that golf has a dress code, and while the dress code can be lightened a little bit, you know, with respect to, you know, the old school knee-high socks and, you know, showing no skin between the top of your shorts and the top of your socks kind of thing. Like I'm not in for that. But wearing proper like golf attire, whether it's, you know, no jeans, no cutoff jeans, you know, wearing a pair of shorts or, you know, a pair of slacks, a collared shirt. You know, I guess collared shirts are kind of a thing of the past now because the industry has changed it to the point where the dress code had to change as well. I think dress codes are meant to change with the times because the clothing that we wear now is not the clothing that we wore in 1942, or we'd all be wearing, you know, knickers, dress shirts, and ties. So I think dress codes are meant to change, but I think that there is a certain amount of respect for the game that needs to be held when it comes to showing up at a golf course and just kind of rolling out in your Iron Maiden t-shirt with your, you know, jeans. And now That said, I think there are also facilities that probably are like when we used to down in Kingston, Bell Park Fairways.
Where whatever you like,
Very
pretty much.
municipal public golf course,
Yeah.
like just go.
Yeah.
But I think, and that kind of, I guess that kind of contradicts a little bit what I'm saying, but I think that the facility is part of what dictates because you can't expect everybody to go out and buy a wardrobe just to play a single round of golf.
Yeah, and I think
You know?
I think that's the middle ground that, I think is the caveat in there, is the dress code has to be relative to the facility and what they prefer at that facility.
So it's within the facility's right to set the dress code.
Right, exactly.
If
and people have to understand it's not going to be the same everywhere as you're going to go.
Exactly.
Right?
Golf, I guess the point is golf as a whole, golf, the sport of golf, the game of golf, should not have a dress code. The facility that houses the game or the sport that we play is the one that dictates. There's no dress code in the rule book. No. You know what I mean? So the rules don't say you have to wear a collared shirt and slacks and that. So therefore it's individual to the facility. It's like going into a restaurant. No shoes, no shirt, no service, right? That's their policy. So each golf course can set its own policy. If a golf course wants to set a certain standard for their facility, then they can set that dress code and people have to adhere to it.
Yeah.
If a golf course doesn't want to have a dress code, says, hey, just whatever, show up as long as you're wearing clothes, I don't care. And even at that, if you're wearing partial clothes, I don't care either. Let me know where that facility is. But that to me is the way the whole dress code thing should work. It's facility based, not sport based.
Yeah. And I think code should really be replaced with just respect.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, if you respect each other and you respect the facility of what they've designated, and believe me, I'm happy to play in shorts and a hoodie and a t-shirt or whatever if the facility certainly allows it. But I don't have the expectation that, Royal Ottawa, because a high-end private club, for an example, that they're going to have that as their standard. They might have it for particular parts of a facility, and I've seen that at golf courses. So the course where I play, for an example, you can wear jeans on the driving range, you can wear t-shirts on the driving range. They're not going to chase you down for that, but they have other rules related to the course, which are changing and adapting all the time, depending on what societal norms are. And I think that's where it needs to be. So people have to realize that, yes, there always will be some sort of dress code that is in line with what the norms are at that particular facility, and don't expect it to kind of go away. It's clearly not going to, that's for sure. And they will definitely adjust. But I would just say that, go to the place that you feel comfortable. And unfortunately, in some cases, you know what? You might have to take off your hat in the clubhouse. You might have to wear a collared shirt. You might have to wear whatever. And, that's just part of it. Don't characterize it as dumb and stupid and whatever. It's just whatever that facility wants. Just like you said, some restaurants don't care if you come in bare feet and floppy sandals, and other ones, have a little bit of a different standard as well. But it's definitely a subject, but something people should sweat about less. They're just railing on about particular things at particular courses. If you want to go to a facility and that's their rules, that's their rules, whether you like it or not.
So the other thing that kind of spins off from that a little bit is the rules of the game. And all I got to say about this, it's not really a big, long discussion now, but this is my say about this is lighten the heck up.
Yeah. And
I mean, the rules of golf, I get it. We have a rule book. There are rules to play by. And in competition, and in a situation where you are tracking your handicap for the purposes of playing in competition.
Correct.
That's why we have these rules.
Correct.
If you are out with, and I do this, I do it all the time. I mean, all the time. I will go out and play a round of golf with my son Brandon at Metcalf, 9 holes, blow a ball off the tee, and I'll hit it. Say I hit it into the woods. Doesn't happen often, but I say I hit it into the woods. I will just go down, drop a ball by the edge of the woods, and hit it onto the green and 2-putt and move on. Like I just,
well,
I take a penalty stroke maybe. I don't really count my score.
That is an option within the rules of golf now. You do have a local rule to make use of that, but in that situation, like you said, it doesn't really matter as long as you're playing within the standard of the other group that you're with. And again, we're not talking about, as you said, handicap play where you're using that handicap to compare to other people that are not with you. That has to be, kept to a certain standard to make it, make it uniform across the way. But if you're just playing on a regular basis with your buddies, make your rolls within your group. Most of the people do it anyways.
Yeah.
And really, absolutely. I mean, I would say 95% of the golfers in the world probably play under those particular things, and they make sure, they decide kind of what they're going to do within their group. So, for people that are freak out if it's something that's going to affect you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But don't freak out if some guy in some group, or some group decides that they're going to have a lateral ball rule where they drop it or whatever. Don't fret about it. It's not your group. So don't worry about it. You're not in that game.
Okay, Scott. One more before we have to wrap this up for this week. Sure. But one more. Pick one more.
Rankings, which I'll do quickly. I know that can be a deep one. But people ranking golf courses and worried about the ranking of a golf course. And I'll just give a little brief thing and then you can go at it yourself. I think golf courses and facilities, unless you're going to be one of the top facilities, you're vying for number one or number two. You know what? Be number one for your customer. Don't worry. It's an ego thing on the other one. And I understand there's a business aspect to it. They want to have that rankings, but a lot of times some of the rankings are very, very subjective and they're not what you think they are. And I think that ranking doesn't determine your level of enjoyment you're going to have at a golf course.
I agree with you. I'm just going to say that they need to knock off all the rankings. I see absolutely zero. I have seen and I don't think I will ever see any algorithm formula
that are valid.
That is valid. It just unless you've got a panel of say 20 people that play every single golf course in the world,
and not even 20
in the same year,
maybe 20,000.
Yeah. Unless you've got a panel like there's no way you can rank golf courses. Now, yes, when they rank them and you look and go, okay, this one's number one, this one's number two, whatever. And you look at, if I went and played the golf course, like, I can see how this one could be the number one ranked golf course, but I can also see how that one can be, and I can see how that one can be, and I can see how that one's not even on your list, and that one's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, you know what? It's all media baloney. Knock it off. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Like I said, be number one for your customer. That's who you need to be. That's who you need to be high in the ranking of. You need that person to go, that's one of the best courses I've ever played. And they might have only played 7.
Yeah.
So
now if you're, say you're in, I don't know, say you're in PEI and you can have a panel of people play every single golf course on the island and have a criteria for ranking every single, you could probably have a more accurate ranking of your golf courses just on that island.
Right.
But that's only because there's only so many golf courses there, and it would be easy to play them all in the course of a month or a year. Like you could do it, but to talk about world rankings or provincial rankings or
there's still subjectivity in objectivity. That's exactly the problem. There'll be no perfect one, and I guarantee you that if you go to PEI, some people prefer Dunderave over Crowbush. And some people want to play Red Sands or Brunel. It doesn't matter. Whatever is the best for them, it shouldn't devalue what another facility is.
Okay, and so I will leave you with one thought with respect to all this. Care about less, because it's this one last little thing on the list here. Don't concern yourself what your golf clubs look like. As a wise man once said, they're tools, not jewels. All right.
Got it.
Well, that's a wrap on that topic and our back nine presented by Celtic Golf Center. A reminder that registration for the Flagstick Open presented by TaylorMade and Adidas is still open. Yeah. But there's not a whole lot of spots left. There might only be a half a dozen at most. So make sure you get over to flagstick.com and register and get your spot. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you to all our sponsors this week: Metcalf Golf Club, Celtic Golf Center, and a presenting sponsor, of course, Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island's premier Canadian golf destination, boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you think. Top-tiered accommodations and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. Book your golf vacations and tee times at golfpei.ca. Well, thank you. I hope you're enjoying listening to these two donkeys talk and watching us talk. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks: Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, click the notification bell, make sure that you never miss a single episode, and continue to make your way over to flagstick.com often for more amazing golf content delivered every single day. Sign up for Flagstick Digest newsletter so you have that same information delivered to your inbox 3 times a week.
You got it.
Well, as always, we do appreciate you tuning in, but until next week, I am Jeff Botter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.